In this James the Bike Guy video, we're going to check out an aluminum road bike that is still affordable. A bike that comes with rim brakes, Shimano components, and slots in well under the $1,000 mark. That's right, we're checking out the giant Contend. And we're going to go into some of the features and designs of this Contend 3, talk about who it's for, what it's great at, and then of course we're going to find out exactly what it weighs. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, I suggest you hit the subscribe button and let's check out this bike together. Giant Contend is a fun all-around road bike that's positioned right in between a more endurance as well as a more performance style bike. So a true do-it-all for that entry-level bike rider. And what's pretty neat is Giant is still investing in making sure that this bike can get out to the masses. And by that I mean this bike is running in well under $1,000, where you still get a high quality experience and a brand name, as well as a bike shop experience where it's built and set up for you. Now, this Giant Contend is the Contend 3, which is the least expensive variant, but the least expensive variant is still running their A-Lux aluminum frame. But to help bring down some cost, they run a aluminum fork as well. Now, this is less common on road bikes, and in fact, as you go up in the range, this fork gets replaced out for carbon. But aluminum on the fork allows them to save a bunch of cost and still keep the bike nice and light. The other frame piece that's going to help save some cost and keep it light is going to be the mechanical rim brakes. Now, a brake like this used to be very traditional to be seen on all sorts of bikes and standard on road bikes, but as we've come in to the newer model series, they typically now get a disc brake down here. A disc brake gives you a bit better modulation, a little bit better control, but it adds a bit of weight, some complexity, as well as cost. And so by having a traditional rim brake here, they can run mechanical cables, they don't need to do hydraulics, and it helps lower some of the complexity as well as cost of the rig. The other neat things that they've done on this is it's still going to have mounts for either a rack or fender, so you can add those in. It does have a threaded bottom bracket, and then both the front and the rear are set up with quick release wheels, so it's going to be easy to take the wheels on and off. Componentry is going to be very good for the price point, and in fact it's all brand name components. So on the rear it's shifted via this Shimano Claris derailleur, which goes to an 8-speed 1134 cassette, driving forward to this FSA crankset, which is running 5034 chainrings. Now when we combine that information together, what that tells us is this is going to be 16 speeds with 2 up front and then the 8 in back. And that 11 to 34 means that you're going to have a pretty wide range, but in fact, you take that 34 easiest gear and you match it up with the 34 easiest up front. And what that's going to end up telling you is this has a 1-to-1 gear ratio. Now, for those that aren't too geeky on gear range, that is essentially the golden standard for being able to have a bike that can climb really well. And I'd love to see that they gear down to something like that on an entry-level road bike, because likely that particular rider is going to be the one building up some skill and some strength, so it's nice to see that this can still climb. The shifting is going to be done on the handlebar via some Shimano Claris shift and brake levers. Now, by shift and brake, they're actually all integrated together. So if we take a quick look here, you can push the inside button to go to a harder gear, the whole lever over to go to an easier gear, and then you can pull back, and that's what's going to slow the bike down. And the neat thing is you can do that down in the drops like we have here, or about 80% of the time you're riding, you'll be up top, and it's nice to be able to do shift and brake while you're holding the top of the handlebar. Moving into the cockpit of the bike, we've got some house brand Giant aluminum components. So the handlebar that's on this bike is going to be their Giant Connect handlebar. Seems to have a reasonably short reach as well as drop, meaning that the reach from the back of the bar to where the hoods are is pretty conservative, and then the drop to go down is going to keep you in a decent position. It's connecting to the fork via this aluminum stem with a 4-bolt faceplate, and then it drives back to Giant's Approach saddle, which is a very comfortable entry-level saddle with a cutout for it, down to their D-Fuse seat post. Now this is one place that I don't totally love about this bike. So in fact, you can see it on the reflector mount. You see that little bit of air or space between the two? Well, that's because this seat post is basically almost 27.2 in diameter, but it's rounded up front and it has a flat section to the back. Now, Giant is doing that because they want to be able to allow this bike to have a little more rearward flex or compliance as you're going down the road. And that's exactly what this seat post does, but it means you're locked into Giant seat post. Now, this is an aluminum seat post with a 1-bolt clamp. They do sell carbon ones, so you still have a range to upgrade in the future, and it should make the bike ride a bit better as well. No bike can get down the road without a nice set of wheels, and that's exactly what we're checking out here, is a set of 700C aluminum rims. Now, 700C is the diameter of most road bikes, so that carries forward, but it's going to be running some Giant SR3 AC tires in a 700 by 28C width. And essentially what that's telling us is it's 28 millimeters wide. It looks like you could go just a little bit wider inside of those brake calipers, but this is actually a place where rim brakes limit you just a little over a traditional disc brake. Not quite as wide of a tire that you can run, but a 700 by 28 is plenty wide, and this Giant tire should be on the more durable side, and those alloy rims are going down to quick release hubs, which basically means that you can just flip that lever, the wheel will drop out kind of pretty easy, and that happens both on the front of the bike as well as the rear too. The actual weight of the Giant Contend 3 comes in and weighs 25.06 pounds. Thanks for watching this video on the Giant Contend. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to browse the channel because there's likely other bikes to check out as well.